In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a data-driven test using either the Design Canvas built-in data source or Visual Studio's data source. So to start, I've created a blank WebITest project and created a WebITest. And now we're going to record just a simple test. So let's go to google.com and then we'll just type in search. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just craft a verification that says value of this text box is going to be whatever we searched for. So let's go value exactly equals search. Let's make sure that works. Validation passes. Click OK. So now we have 4 steps. We navigate, set text, click the submit button, and then verify that the text box actually contains what we searched for. Very simple test. So in order to data drive this, what we need to do is go to the WebITest and click on the Data tab. Now, this is going to be the data source for it's built into Design Canvas. So it's for easy and quick data driving of tests without having to create an external data source and wire it up. So for this one, we're going to leave 2 columns. And this column is going to be called search text. And then this column name is going to be called verify text. Click OK. And now what we'll do here is we'll just say, well, we're going to do a search for Google, and then we're going to verify that anything we search for matches art of test. And then let's do Microsoft, and then Yahoo. So now what's going to happen is it's going to run through each row of this, put this as the search text, and this is the verify text. So to wire this up, we need to go down to our step that we want the search text for, and we need to go to bindings. Now if we go to bindings and click text, we can type in our expression here. So the notation is the $, and then either the column name or column index. So we're actually going to use the column name. So this is going to be search text. So that one's now data driven. You'll see in the Test Explorer it says that. And now we're going to go down to this verification, and we're going to data drive the verification. So in this instance, we're going to data drive the attribute value, because we know the attribute name is going to stay the same. So for the value, let's change this to be $verify text, and then we'll do set. So currently we have our test set up to be data driven against this data source with the 4 rows, in these two steps that are data driven. So let's execute it. So it'll go through each iteration. So it executed 4 times, and you can see all the iterations here. So you can apply the results to this panel by clicking on the iteration, or we can see all the results by clicking on this and then maximizing it. And then you can see each step as it passed and went through. So let's X out of this. Now, so that's how you can data drive using the Design Canvas's built-in data grid. Now, but let's say you have say a SQL data source or an XML or CSV file that you want your data to come from. So in order to data drive it using a Visual Studio data source, you need to go to the test view and then click on your WebITest. And then what we'll do is we'll go up to the data connection string, and then we'll click the editor. So this will bring up the new test data source wizard. So in this case, we want to choose a database that I've set up. So we're going to say new connection, and then the name of this PC is AOT Chris, and then we're going to put in SQL Express. And then the database I've created is called Search Database. So we're going to click OK, go next. And now the only table in the search database is searches, so we'll say finish. Now, when I set this database up, this table within there, actually let me pull open. So you'll notice that this is my database I'm connected to. These are the searches. This is the search table we've bound to. And there's 3 columns. There's an ID, search text, and verify text. So let's go back to our properties. Make sure that it's data enabled, true. And then default to grid needs to be set to false, because what this is going to do is this is going to use the built-in data grid from here as the data source. But we want it to be the database source. So since my column names are the same as my database column names, I don't need to change my bound names here. So this is the same name that my database is using. So now let's go ahead and let's go ahead and delete this just so that we know for sure it's not using these data sources here whenever we drive it. So let's save everything, and then let's do quick execute again. So that's going through, it's pulling the data from the database and using that as my search criteria. So that one, there's 5 rows in that database, and so each one of those executed and the results were displayed. So if I wanted to apply any failures to this window right here, I could just click on the iteration failure and it would apply the results to the test explorer itself. So that's how you can data drive a test using either the built-in data grid that comes with Design Canvas or a SQL Server database or any other allowable Visual Studio data source.